connection and opportunity. All in one place. Come join the community. So text it now, don't wait in line. Fight for life. 949-292-905. That's 949-292-905. Now I'm at the point you wanna be with me. I'm vibing out at a higher frequency. Cause everything that I want and I'm gonna be, it's when I wake up, that's when I start to dream. Someone you love is talking down, here is the plan. Let it fall through like a handful of sand. Nothing happens overnight, what you must understand. If you dwell on the bad, then you don't stand a chance. Something you want upset, saying why it ain't mine yet. That's because now you have yet to change your mindset. People don't put their mind to rest while they're so wired. A lot of people go to sleep and wake up tired. Power of positivity and persistence. Say that I can, we'll just sit back and witness. Make an impact when our time is done. Make money, help people, and have lots of fun.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Life
Excellent.
is really good.
Well, we got a milestone episode here today. This is episode number, by the numbers, 900.
Whoa.
Episode 900. That's kind of like, holy mackerel. How'd we get here from there?
There's no roadmap, man. There's no roadmap. It's just like it's showing up every day, right? It's showing up. It's just showing up.
You keep one foot in front of the other. Pretty soon you get somewhere.
Did you see that story? This is all of the hype around the World Cup. But you see that guy? I think he was from Spain. He did 3,000 miles from one end of the United States to the other. He just completed it yesterday or today. I thought that's talking about one step in front of the other.
Yeah, I didn't read the full thing, but I saw the headline on it.
Yeah,
so that's quite an accomplishment. All one step.
Yeah.
What I did read today was, and this is interesting, the Oregon Trail. The big covered wagons and whatnot. The movies depict people riding in the wagons. There was no suspension on those things. People walked 2,000 miles from St. Louis or wherever in hell it was that they started, to the West Coast. And by the time they got there, a lot of them were walking barefoot. I mean, it was a trek.
Yeah.
It was a trek.
Yeah, there's no way you drove and what you rode and what that would have beat you to death.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm gonna click that off. There we go. Well, enough of our banter.
I know. Walking and barefoot and all the things, but we got good guests today.
Yeah, we got a pretty good lineup for the 900th show. This is something else. The Solo Business Edition of Office Hours. I'm your co-host Blaine Bartlett, and my co-host is Rhett Power, and we're off to the races. Gigi, why don't we bring our first guest up, Lee Mandel? Hey, Lee, how you doing?
Hey guys, how's everyone doing today?
We could not be better. And Lee and I were having a little conversation in the green room before we started off today, and he's been bouncing around the globe, not unlike you, Rhett. He actually just got back, with a team meeting in the Philippines. But he's down in Florida right now. He's based out of New York, and all of that by way of saying the organization that you're running, Lee, is really kind of an intriguing organization in the sense of what contemporary challenges, and I'll just use the word generalize it, challenges, and it has to do with security, particularly building security. How do we fortify? And I say fortify. How do we actually guard against unwarranted and unwanted intrusions from a physical perspective? In part, but also just other ways that things get intruded upon. Your company is XPonse, literally XPonse.com, and you are, and your organization is nationally recognized as an expert in school and building security technology. Can you give us a little walkthrough about, number one, I'm always intrigued by this, how you got into this, first of all, kind of was the spark that kind of got your imagination going? And then what are you finding is the current need outside of the generalized recognized need for building security?
That's a great question, Blaine. So XPonse was formed based off the concept of keeping kids safe in schools. We saw a big challenge. Two of the partners in the company are actually parents who've lost their children in the Parkland shooting, Andrew Pollock and Ryan Petty. I had a prior technology company that I sold to private equity in 2019, where we were a security solutions integrator. So we were the guys running the wires and hooking up all the sensors and security. When I sold that company, I knew my mission wasn't over. And me, Andy, and Ryan got together and we decided to create a manufacturing company to actually manufacture AI-based hardware that goes into schools and keeps schools safe. So that's just exactly what we did. We created XPonse as a elaborate ecosystem that automates the response time during an active shooter. So we basically take seconds out of the response time, and we've patented a lot of technology that's first of its kind, where we're able to literally put first responders into every single classroom in a school. Just imagine a first responder being able to know where to go, how to get into a building, how to respond during an active shooter. And really, seconds matter, seconds saving lives. And that's all what XPonse is about.
Well, you are on a noble mission, Lee, for sure. What is what is the challenge in growing a technology company like this? I mean, it sounds like are you manufacturing overseas, or do you have client, or is there a need really all over the world for this kind of? I was fascinated by sort of the scope of this, and I mean, it's a sad commentary that we have to talk about this, but I mean, what is the interest globally, and what are some of the challenges in it?
Well, real simple. I mean, this is needed everywhere. I mean, we've seen over the past 12 months these type of incidents not just happen in the United States, but happen all over the globe.
Mm.
Before all the tariffs were implemented in the United States, we actually really prided ourselves in manufacturing everything in the United States. So before we had an inside track that was happening, we actually got ahead of it. And we do all our manufacturing right here in the United States, which is super, super important. We have partners that we work with all over the globe on software, on technology, but manufacturing is done in Pennsylvania and New York, of all places. And that's where we do everything from our printed circuit boards, our firmware development, our manufacturing, our creation. Everything's done right here in the United States, and it's here to protect not just Americans, but people abroad as well.
The AI part of this, because you build out obviously hardware, and you've got a software interface that makes things work. Where does AI come into play with this? And I'm curious here because you've got a one button approach. I mean, somebody pushes a button and there's a response. How does it all get communicated and sequenced in a way that actually allows for you to cut seconds off?
That's a great question. So AI is such a big buzzword now. When you look at all the mergers and acquisitions taking place, everyone wants to claim that they're an AI-based ecosystem, an AI-based platform, but we truly use AI. So just to give you an example, during an active shooter situation in a school, there's so many different things that have to happen, from notifying the parents and the community members to locking the doors to making announcements, letting first responders into the building, knowing where people go. We use AI to intelligently do that automatically. So, for example, someone sees an active shooter, they can either hit a button that's on a wall. We have devices that go in the classroom called our shields. And then we also have wearable devices that they can put on themselves to actually hit that button. And when that happens, all the sequenced events happen immediately. So we'll immediately notify the parents. We'll lock exterior doors, lock interior doors. We'll literally plot live on a map exactly where people are that need help, and we'll give first responders live access to communicate over the public address system and see inside the classroom. Seeing inside the classroom's always been such a challenge due to privacy concerns, union issues in different states. So we've created a mechanical shutter that literally opens and closes, similar like you have on your laptop, where if you want privacy, you can close that shutter, open it. We use AI to open and close that automatically when it detects a threat, so that we can give first responders eyes in the classrooms in real time. And when you look at Sandy Hook and Parkland and all the other tragedies, when these shooters have ended the carnage, has always been when they know the first responders are on their way or in the building. So imagine literally hearing the first responder's voice within 3 to 5 seconds of an activation. We can literally save lives by shaving seconds.
Wow. That is impressive, and unfortunately, so needed today.
I'm curious, real quickly. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lane.
You don't know
Does it tell first responders where that active shooter is?
Exactly. So based off the response of how many people are seeing a shooter
Okay.
or
So
hearing
again,
gunshot
right.
noise, we actually hit that button and we'll track where all those responses are coming in on the map. We actually can use the existing cameras that the school has to be able to isolate and feed that data right to first responders. And they can even tag the potential bad person or the threat and then track that throughout the campus as well. So it's truly remarkable technology that doesn't require the school to remove existing technology. And we're talking a lot about schools, but we have technology that goes in hotels. We have vape detection technology that detects vaping in hotel rooms. Believe it or not, we can detect. We're actually getting certified to be able to detect the use of fentanyl. So we have other life-saving technology. We're in hospitals, we're in stadiums, theaters, any place where people gather. That's where our technology is useful.
That is
Wow.
amazing. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
thank
Thank you.
you. For putting, and I'm sorry that, the catalyst was something so tragic as Parkland. And something has come out of that is actually, quite beneficial. So,
Turning tragedy into something good, and
yeah.
that's
So to
Exactly.
you and your two partners, just hats off. Folks, you can find out more about what Lee's company's up to at XPonse. That's just gonna XPonse.
Response with an X, I always say. Response with an X.
XPonse.com. And Lee, we got a number of other shows that we'd love to have you back on as well, just to kind of spread the word on this. This is good stuff. So thank you.
I'd love to come back and spend time with you guys. Thanks for having me on today. Really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Blaine, I'm glad you were having to say XPonse because that is hard to say.
It is. It's kind of the two consonants kind of butted up to each other there. XPonse.
Say that
I
fast
keep
3
putting
times.
to put an E in there. So shifting gears just a little bit here. Yeah, and I love the title of this book and our next guest. Row, we live by the choices we make. I made mine. And that kind of invites an inquiry. So we're going to bring into the studio here Shahzad. And Shahzad, let's see how I do with this. Okay. Karbadwala.
Very, very close. It's Carbidwala.
Carbedwa. Okay. Got the emphasis in the wrong place here.
No, you're good. People have butchered my name in my whole life, so you're very close. Much better than a lot of others.
Okay. Well,
Shahzad, I'm sure you've been called worse, right? I mean,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell us about the book. I mean, the book came out in 2023, so it's been out for a little bit of time here. But I love the title, Row. We live by the choices we make. I made mine, and just the idea of I'm assuming a row boat, literally, or what are we doing here?
It's actually a story about a gentleman who's in San Quentin prison on death row.
Death row. Okay.
And I was going to call it Death Row, but then I decided just to call it Row, shorten it a little bit. And it's a fictional story about a gentleman who's in death row at San Quentin, and he's 2 weeks away from his execution. So every day in San Quentin on death row, he's writing a specific piece about his life presently in prison, but then it takes a little bit of a segue into my autobiography as well. So it kind of talks a little bit about my life in the past, which it was a little bit trivial, and then goes into what I'm doing now as far as like the humanitarian work, philanthropy, authorship, and law enforcement and things like that.
Well, it begs the question, and why this book? And I think you have to fill us in a little bit on the backstory because you teased us a little bit with that.
Yeah, trivial background. We've all make mistakes, right? We're all human beings. I was looking at a potential prison sentence for quite a long time when I was younger for something that I actually did do. The judge took leniency on me and gave me a sentence of probation and fulfilling a subset amount of hours for community service. I was a knucklehead back then. I got someone to sign off on that, never fulfilled my requirements. But you know what happened was as I grew older, God bestowed on me that, look, you had a subset of hours that you needed to complete. You never did them. You took the easy road out. Now it's time. You've grown older. You've been more mature. You've gotten more mature. Now it's time for you to complete those hours. So now I run a philanthropy organization. We've grown from a single body to about 130 people, and we do pretty cool stuff all over the world. And it all ties back into Roe. And some of the things that I kind of experienced in my past that have led me to where I am now.
Well, yeah, let's talk a little bit about your philanthropic endeavors here. Rhett and myself and David also were heavily involved in different philanthropic organizations, in board positions and a number of other things. First of all, what is Shahzad Nutritional, and what's the intent? What's the difference that you're making? Where's the impact point?
Yeah, so I'm working with quite a few kids, and it's I built a personal training business about 20 years ago. Stopped for a couple of years, but then I started up again and working with kids. It's really not just personal training, but it's championship mindset building. So working with kids young as 6 years old, all the way up to high school, helping them just kind of mindset shift, keeping them accountable to specific activities that they're doing, making sure they're being kind, generous, listening to their parents. A lot of things that when we're being brought up, sometimes with the chaos of life, some of those things get neglected. So I'm trying to build that bridge with parents and younger kids. So it's been an amazing experience.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and some of the other work I do I do work with the incarcerated. I sit on the board for prisoner visitation and support. And part of our mission is to kind of reach out to different federal institutions and see where there's inmates that unfortunately don't get any visitations from family, friends, don't get any visitations from anyone in the free world. So do some of the work and speak to different inmates all across North America. So that's been a fruitful experience.
That's it.
Well, that's again. Sorry about all the noise there. No, but that's amazing work, and I mean, it sounds like very rewarding to you. To people listening, what do you want them to take away from this conversation?
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for what you guys do, because it builds awareness for people like myself, helps me grow my personal brand. The mission that I serve is based off my dad's legacy, and he passed away in 2009. And what I found out when he passed away, guys, is a lot of people, former colleagues, partners, people he worked with, people he supported, all came back and said, the amazing things that your father did for me, my family, my business. And it got me to kind of self-reflect on my life and think about how I want a legacy similar to my father's. So my whole mission now in everything that I do is to help people in any way that I can. It's part of what I do in law enforcement. It's part of my authorship. I've written 3 books, and the proceeds from the books all go to my charity that I run called Project Rise. So it's tapped into a lot of the goals that I've been wanting to do, but it took a little bit of time, guys. It took a lot of things that happened in my past to help me grow into what I become. And Roe kind of capitalized on all of that, kind of showcases a piece of what could potentially have happened, and with God's support, what is happening now, which has been a lot of meaningful work.
Meaningful, I think, is the summation of that. Sounds a lot like you're nurturing the soul of everybody that you're coming into contact with in a way that allows for who they are actually to matter. And there's a lot to be acknowledged in that sort of a process. So people can find out now. You've got, what the project is called. What? Rise.
Yeah, it's called Project Rise, and we're a global organization.
Okay.
We have different chapters all over the world. The one that I specifically run is based out of Chicago.
Okay, so projectrise.org.
Projectrise.org, correct.
Okay, and if people wanted to get in touch with you specifically, could they go to shahzadnutrition.com, and that would be probably the easiest link to you to find out more?
That, LinkedIn, I don't do a lot of social media, so something like this is so instrumental to my personal brand because it builds awareness. But LinkedIn is probably the best method that you could reach out to me, or shahzadsnutrition.com. Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. Shahzad, thank you for being such a really an inspirational guest. I love hearing what you're up to, and I like the way that you used a fictional account to actually land something so seminal, something so meaningful. So just an acknowledgement to you for that.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's been a wonderful experience. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bet.
Thanks, Shahzad.
Wow.
All right.
That's
Okay.
good stuff. That is good stuff. I love this.
Yeah. I mean, super inspirational for sure.
900th episode of the Solo Business Edition for Office Hours. Our next guest has also got a book out that is interesting here, and this is a newer book. It actually came out this April. It's called The Last Patient, and it's a memoir inside the firefighting service. The author is Jim Owens, and there he is. Author
There
of
he
The
is.
Last Patient. Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yeah,
Hey, guy.
good to see you here. You've
to see
got an interesting story to be told here, and you've told it in the book, but let's see if we can get a little bit of it landed here on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, let me just thank you and your audience so much for having me on today. This is such a legacy project for me, and it's really honorable to be able to get this thing to light. So what happened is I wrote a memoir where I didn't end up the hero. It's a permission slip for first responders to seek help. And also, the flip side of that coin is those that love us and are trying to understand us. There's some clues in that memoir as well.
What was the catalyst for writing the book, James?
Certainly. Well, the catalyst for writing my book, The Last Patient, is a culmination of its entire life experience, of course, because it is a memoir. But I ran into trouble like a lot of people do, and most specifically first responders, where I was needing help and I wasn't able to reach out for help. But by the time I got help, I was nearly at death's door. And that's the unfortunate circumstances of a lot of first responders and individuals in high pressure situations like the military or even business, if you will. But I saw that a book needed to be written to discuss the insides of the first responder culture so we could get additional help for people to not suffer as bad as they have. I mean, we've seen all the suicide rates, and they're just abysmal for our type of my industry.
Well, James, it's good to see you again. I'm glad I think we got to chat a few months ago in Las Vegas, and a little bit about this. And what is the thing you want us to know about first responders? Because I think most of us think you're a stoic bunch, and nothing affects you, and what's something that you and I love the way you say there's some hints in here on how to. I have some first responder friends, and sometimes you don't know what to say after something, right? You don't know what to say to them after they've been through a tough situation. And what do you say, and what is helpful and what's not helpful? I mean,
Oh, well, in my book, the last patient, my goal was to show the human side underneath the badge. And it's exactly what you talk about. We see individuals just moving through our screen and we don't really think about what they did before they got to work or what they did after work. And it's a very, very difficult job. And there's a tough crowd of people that are able to do that. I was so fortunate enough to get to do that. But humans make mistakes by nature, and the way that the fire departments and even businesses are run, when you run a business full tilt, things can get missed. And we're just, the show has to move on. When someone calls 911, we're going to respond. But what happens to us when the fire follows us home? Because we spend all this time working on going towards the threat. But what happens when that fire follows us home? It follows us into our sleep. It falls into our decision making. It falls us into our parenting decisions the next day. So I saw that first responders were treating stress, and I certainly did myself like it was the common cold. But in fact, post traumatic stress and job stress, if not treated, that's a terminal disease. Okay, that's something that's going to take you out. So I reached deep into myself to put forward all the mistakes and all the stop starts that it takes to actually get help and to get sober, if you will. That's another portion. So when I got out there and started to seek for modalities that actually worked for me, they weren't the modalities that were the front door modalities that you would think, take this pill and talk to this man. That's just not enough for a lot of us. So I wanted to go further. I wanted to pull the covers on what we think and what actually goes on behind those first responders, that the eyes that you see on those screens, to give you an idea of like how difficult that job really is and how tough the people that do it. And there's so much expected of first responders that the off ramp for help is really it's not there, or not even celebrated. And that's what I really want to bring forward, and this book wants to bring forward, is a celebration of reaching out for help.
And I'm assuming that this is where Camp Pivot kind of came into play, just as a forum to be able to actually work with first responders to address some of the challenges, both from a leadership perspective, but the mental health challenges as well. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about what you do at Camp Pivot? And I love the acronym, not necessarily the acronym, but the philosophy. I'm familiar with FUBAR in a military context.
Right. Yeah.
But the situation screwed, still survivable is a much cleaner and much more elegant way of saying that. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Let me take a bite at that. So the book and my philosophy obviously comes from a lifetime of experience, and in my book, really, if you're gonna grab my book looking for a firefighter book, you're gonna miss it, because it's actually a human book. It's for everybody. What I show a very difficult childhood that I had and some decisions that my parents made. Unbelievably, I end up on a 32-foot sailboat in Mexico with my parents, and that's the catalyst for becoming a first responder. And as I had this really crazy lifestyle, lived out of Catalina, and then I got involved with the 911, I saw that a lot of people go for a first responder type job, those help type jobs, have trauma themselves. They're bringing it along with them and trying to figure it out through their careers as well. And through going to all these modalities, seeing all the mopey faces and first responders unwilling to put their hand up, I was like, oh my gosh, what really would work for us? So that's what my book does, it really maps out how I went to go out and seek all kinds of different alternatives. And nobody would know about those, and I'm sure I could sell my book. But in fact, what Camp Pivot is, a mission-driven initiative that is becoming a nonprofit. It wants to be let's say, the Angie's List, to give you a metaphor, for first responders and those that love us, for modalities that actually work. Okay, so I've done a ton of them, and I kissed more toads than I'd like to admit. Like, for instance, let me just give you a little side note here. Some things that really surprised me about getting better. Okay, aromatherapy is warrior therapy, and I'm going to stand on it. You got a girly candle, and I want to take my shoes off. Okay, I'm going to start relaxing. Who would have known that? Now, on the flip side of that, have you ever heard of these float tanks They put like 500 pounds of what is it, salt or
water.
whatever. You go in there, sensory deprivation. Oh my God, it was the worst thing ever. They put me in there. I'm floating in there. It's hot. I can't breathe. So there was a lot of things that I did that I just that they didn't work for me. But I thought that if there was a warehouse somewhere where I could go see what somebody else is rating, what worked for them, because we tend to pack up and go in groups. Now, Camp Pivot will initially be a digital warehouse, but as we get momentum, we get time, talent, and some treasure into there. We hope to go all the way to a brick and mortar where we can provide, a retreat type experience to go on top of, the treatments that first responders or even military would be there to seek.
I love that. Rhett, any final thoughts here before we close off the session?
Bless you, man. Just bless you.
Well, thank you so much. Living life as a first responder is much like living life on a high interest credit card. And eventually that payment is totally due.
Yeah.
And when that payment's totally due, and we've all run into it, situation screwed, still survivable. And your people can meet me at captainjamesowen.com. I'm available for keynote speaking. Of course, I'm out here selling my book. I'd like to get this message out. And I'm also available for individual coaching and organizational coaching as well.
Great, and we will sell the book. Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
Let's get it out there and distributed.
If you know a first responder, if you know a man that's really having a tough time, hey, I don't have the solution for him, but I got a book with some clues into it. Let's go ahead and see if it'll work.
Perfect. Folks, James Owen, Captain James Owen, author of The Last Patient. Pick up a copy at your local brick and mortar store or on Amazon. I think you'll be well rewarded. And if you've got somebody in your life that is a first responder or is it doesn't have to be fire, police, whatever. I mean, I do a lot of work in hospital systems, surgeons, nurses, trauma centers. I mean, it kind of runs the gamut.
Certainly, first responders are. Hey, we include our tow truck drivers in there too. We're all a team. We all get affected. And again, I'm not the first responders aren't the only ones to go through a tough time. There are other people that are going through a tough time. Maybe they need some clues and maybe they need some coaching, for a period of time. And I'm available for all that. I want to move this forward so our society has some happy first responders in retirement.
That's a great, I like that aspiration. It's almost an oxymoron right now.
Yeah.
James, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks to the audience. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Wow.
We did it.
Bag here, number 900.
We did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And we did it without our fearless leader. That'll show him.
Well, I'm going to flip it on you, man. What was your takeaway for the day? Because I didn't want to answer first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with what James just closed with. Happy first responders. The idea, whether it's building security or whether it's actually treating PTSD. The net here has to be, how do we actually find ways? And this is something that Lee talked about in his segment. Finding ways for people to actually identify who they are and sort through all the stuff that's happened to them and say, okay, I'm still standing. Yeah. It may be all screwed up, but it is survivable. Yeah. And that's the big deal. It is survivable. Life. Yeah. I got a one-way ticket when I came in, but it is survivable.
Look, I love the through line today, which I think is this, where, Lee helping prevent tragedy or and Shahzad, working with marginal communities like prisoners and people that we often don't see as people, right? And then James, who is trying to help first responders. I think there's a through line of just this humanness of and some of these things that we deal with, and I'd like that they're trying to help people that often don't seek help. I mean, or often we think of as needing help or wanting to give help to, really, right? I mean, we don't want to, we don't often talk about helping prisoners. We don't often talk about the help that first responders need to cope with the things that they live with. And it's a real shame that we've got to talk about school security and tragedy like that. So I just think that's it's I'm glad that there are people in the world that are taking on those problems and facing those problems, because they're making the world a better place. And I think that's to me inspiring.
That is,
So.
I echo that. And folks, part of making the world a better place and life experience a better place is to pay attention to the noise inside your head. Rhett's got a great book out called Head of Mentals. And it can give you some very interesting insight into how you're actually talking yourself into some stuff that you probably don't want to work with. How leaders can crack negative self-talk. So,
Hey, I got something for you, Blaine.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you because I've got this idea, and you'd be the perfect person to talk about it with. And maybe we need to do an offline show on it. But did you know Mark Goulston?
Oh, knew Mark very well. Yeah.
So Mark and I were talking before he died. About a year before he died, he and I started talking about this concept of being lost in transaction.
Yeah.
And have I mentioned this to you before? I might have mentioned this to you before.
No, but I've talked to Mark about that as well. I talked to him actually about a week before he died.
He and I were talking about a book, working on a book together about it, and I need a co-author so I can, because I promised him I would finish it, because he knew a couple months before that this was it, and that he wasn't going to be able to finish this project. Well, we should talk, since you knew Mark. I've got a draft.
Okay.
And we should talk, because I think, he and I were talking about people who would be, who should help me finish this project. And so we should talk about that.
We will take that one offline. Folks, you heard about it first here.
That's right. I'm putting a marker down. I'm putting. But anyway, yeah.
I'd love to circle back with you on that, Rhett. Because Mark and I had some pretty interesting conversations about that topic, and he was a special guy. He really was.
Yes, he was, for sure.
Brilliant and a heart of gold. My God, he had a huge heart. I loved him.
Too big of a heart, probably.
Yeah.
If there's such a thing.
That's kind of where we got in trouble, I think. Anyway, my friend,
all right, brother.
Thank you for co-hosting with me today. I appreciate it, and I'm pleasure to co-host with you as well. So let's talk about the book. I'm all in. It sounds like a fascinating project, and I think it'd be a great way to memorialize Mark. So,
indeed. All right, my man.
You take care, folks.
You too.
Office
Bye.
Hours. David Meltzer's show, Office Hours with David Meltzer. This is a Soul of Business edition. I'm Blaine Bartlett, my co-host today, Rhett Power. Tomorrow, Friday, David's morning shows, the training. So be sure you tune in. Gigi will put the information up for you here so that you can find out exactly where you need to go if you don't know. So Gigi, why don't you go ahead and do that? And this is Office Hours number 900 or so. We're going to claim 900 though. Okay, so tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, free training. And take us out of here, Gigi.
Hey! 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 Oh! Hey! Wanna know where David's gonna be? Get invites, updates, and community. When he's in your city, you won't miss a thing. Just text the number, let your phone ring, 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 ring. 949-292-905. That's 949-292-905. Hey! Events, connection, and opportunity, all in one place. Now I'm at the point you wanna be with me. I'm vibing out at a higher frequency, cause everything that I want and I'm gonna be, it's when I wake up, that's when I start to dream. Someone you love is talking down, here is the plan. Let it fall through like a handful of sand. Nothing happens overnight, what you must understand. If you dwell on the bad, then you don't stand a chance. Something you want upset, saying why it ain't mine yet. That's because now you have yet to change your mindset. People don't put their mind to rest while they're so wired. A lot of people go to sleep and wake up tired. Power of positivity and persistence. Say that I can, we'll just sit back and witness. Make an impact when our time is done. Make money, help people, and have lots of fun.